Hello traders, how are we? Welcome back to Simply Forex. Trader Tom here, and I am with you for the next 45 minutes or so. Hope you're all well, hope you're having a good trading week so far, and hope you all had a nice weekend. What did I do this weekend? Not a lot, chilled. Anyway, guys, so I am currently in 3 trades, right? So we're going to start there. I'm going to show you the 3 trades that I'm in, the reasons that I am in them, and where I entered, put my stop loss and take profit, etc. So we'll start there, guys, and I'll show you my trades that I'm currently in. And like I say, 3 trades like a madman. Also, guys, we have got some news coming out. So if we look at 1:30, you can see we've got some retail sales coming out of the US, right? So we'll take a look at that when it comes out and see what reaction that has with the US dollar. I am actually in a pound US dollar sell trade, right? So I'm interested in this news. What else are we going to do? Yeah, more importantly, guys, we are going to take as many of your questions as humanly possible, right? So don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you like about trading. And it can be anything, right? It could be something to do with a currency pair you want to look at. It could be strategy, money and risk management, psychology, you know, what I have for breakfast, whatever you like, guys, right? So that is the plan. Right, so straight away we've got Raphael come in. PJ, hi Raphael. And guys, we'll take a look at all of your questions later. All right, so Raphael's got a question here on oil. We'll take a look at that, Raphael, very shortly. Let's start with the trades that I am in, guys. And let's start with the trades that I took from yesterday. So as you can see, guys, Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, this is the day chart. And basically, we've been kind of ranging between here and here, right? Price has come down and it's just been ranging, guys, right? From here to here. Simple as that, right? So simple ranging structure of the market. And then once price got down to this area of support, we had a nice big bullish daily candle, right? That formed on Friday. So on Monday, I was looking to buy this pair. And my target is basically back up to these last highs here. Let me drag that across. All right, so makes sense, right? We're with daily structure. We have a nice bullish candle. There's room to move into, right? Simple price action. And then basically, guys, my entry was this, right? So, sorry, guys, this was a trade from today. Bear with me. So basically, guys, as soon as we broke out of this resistance level, right? As soon as we broke out of this resistance level and H4 structure changed, right? As soon as we got this break with specifically this candle right here, right? With the close of that candle, we started to get, okay, price was just hovering around that level. As soon as we broke that, we started to get higher highs. We're getting higher lows, higher highs. We're in an uptrend, right? And we've got all of this room to move back into up to these highs. Okay. And that was the trade, right? And this is the trade that I'm in. I got a slight retrace. I started entering in here, put my stop loss below here, and I'm looking to take price back up to here. All right. And it's as simple as that, guys. The only thing I may do with this trade, if it goes in the right direction, is add to it. Okay. And how will I add to this trade? So let's imagine we get a nice big bullish H4 candle that does that, right? I will then move my stop loss from here to below this low here. So put my stop loss in here, and then I can add to the position, right? With the target not changing, right? I will still look to take profit back up to here. All right, so Canadian dollar, Swiss franc, that was a trade I got in the early hours of this morning, right? I also got into pound US dollar more recently. So if we take a look at pound US dollar, and as always, we're going to start with the day chart. And it's basically about this level of resistance, right? So this level of resistance just keeps holding. Price hasn't broke it. We're in an uptrend, right? I'm aware of that. We're in an uptrend, but price keeps stuttering at this resistance level. And at that resistance level, we got a nice big bearish candle, but not, the bottom wick suggested not super bearish, right? But then yesterday's candle, look at that candle. That tells me sellers are in control. Look at the wick. I know it's a green candle, but look at the wick on it, right? Look at the wick on that. Yeah, so that suggests sellers are still in control, right? And there's more reasons I started selling. If we now go down to the H4, right, there was this trend line, this blue trend line, okay? And price just kept hitting this trend line, right? But finally, this H4 candle right here, right, meant that it broke. It broke that trend line, okay? We've also had a H1 structure break, right? So I would suggest the H1 structure break started up here, right? And this is where we're at, right? We're in a H1 downtrend. We've had a H4 trend line break. And these are all the reasons I like to sell pound US dollar, right? I started selling in here. I put my stop up here, and I'm looking to take price back down to these lows in here. All right, guys. So that is pound US dollar as well. You know, I'm liking the look of this H1 candle and this wick rejection here. You know, let's see what this candle does as well. And obviously we do have some news coming out as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. And there's one more trade I'm in at the moment, and that's copper. And this has just been farting about, for the want of a better word. But again, guys, this is all about a resistance level, right? And at that point, right, we're in an uptrend, okay? But, you know, is that a significant enough higher low? I would suggest not. But on the H4, it's quite clear, right? We're breaking down. And we've just had bearish candle, and I actually entered this yesterday off the back of that bearish candle. Okay, and then if we go down to the H4, we were also in a H4 downtrend, right? And then we got this big bearish H4 candle, and that's the candle I started entering on, right? I got a bit of a retrace, started selling here, stops above here, and I'm looking to take price back down to this 48,000 level. All right, guys. So yeah, those are all of the trades that I am in right now. If we go to Tom's trades, you can see them all here, right? So we had a good Aussie dollar yen trade the other day. I'm in this copper trade, exactly as I explained. And I'm also in this CAD Swiss franc buy trade and this pound US dollar sell trade. And as always, guys, if you want to see all of my trades as and when I enter, then please come join our VIP Discord channel, guys, right? Not only do I give you my trade ideas, there's loads more in here. We've got strategies, we've got tutorials on hedging, managing trades, trade entries, trade analysis, psychology, etc., right? There's loads of great tutorials in there as well. All right, so come join it. Don't be shy. And also, guys, just to point out, you know, the VIP Discord is a paid thing, but we do have the free Discord, which is basically our trading community, and that's totally free, guys, right? And this is where I put all of my trades in here, all of my trade ideas. Okay, so this was Tuesday, and this was Monday, right? So yeah, come join the free Discord. It's free, and if you like the look of the VIP, come join us as well. Right, that's all the trades I am in, guys. That's everything that I am looking at. Right, let's say hello to a few amigos. Aussie Trev, hey, how are you, mate? Ninja Dog, you have the best name. I like dogs and I like ninjas. That is the best name, I think, yet that I've seen. Hi, Tom. New to your channel, but I like it. And you gave us a compliment as well. Ninja Dog, you're our favourite. Heath, how are you, Heath? Haven't seen your name for a while. Welcome back, mate. How are you? Luigi, the most Italian-sounding man in the universe. How are you? Pooh Poppy. I can't find a trade to save my life this week. Okay. All right. Pooh Poppy, do you look at 28 currency pairs? Do you look at all of them, or do you just look at a small proportion of trades? Okay, what else have we got here? So only Forex trade that Ninja Dog is currently in is the US dollar CAD sell. All right, so we'll take a look at US dollar CAD sell. And also here from Ninja Dog, it's my husband's YouTube, but he has premium and I don't. Fair enough. Okay. So if he is Ninja Dog, you are Ninja Dog S. I don't know what I'm saying. And Raphael wanted to look at oil. All right. So, yeah, Raphael, let's start with oil first. Okay. Now, oil, I even said this to myself earlier on today, right? This is a tricky sausage, right? Now, let's do a top-down approach, okay? And this is how I approach Mrs. Ninja. Yeah, that would be better than Ninja Dog S. I don't know where I was going with that. But oil, right? This is a tricky sausage, and there's a no trade here for me, all right? So let me explain why. Now, as you know, guys, I do a top-down approach. There's no secrets to the way I trade. I break it down in front of you as part of these live streams and in the VIP, right, every day, okay? So let me explain what I'm seeing and why I'm not liking oil, right? Now, obviously, geopolitically, there's a lot going, there's a lot going on, right, with Israel and Iran, and that's obviously going to have an impact on the price of oil, right? But there's always many things impacting the price of oil. So all we can do is read what's happening on the chart, because there will always be something macroeconomically or geopolitically affecting oil or affecting US dollar or affecting gold or affecting the euro, right? There's always going to be, always, right? So we need to understand how to read it technically. So if we look at the weekly chart, right, we know we've had all of this huge buying pressure with oil, right? You can see that, right? You do not need to be Warren Buffett to see there's lots of buyers with oil. But it is at a key resistance level. Resistance, 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 support, support. That is a pretty key level. Right? We know that because price has reacted many times at that level. So although we've got all this buying pressure, I don't want to buy into that level, right? I simply don't. I do not want to buy into resistance, right? That is what crazy maniacs do, right? And I'm only a maniac at the weekend. Right, but let's get some more information. Let's get another opinion, right? And when I say get another opinion, I mean let's look at another time frame, because every time frame is going to give you a little bit more information, right? So use it. Now, at that resistance level, right, which I just shown you, we've had a reasonably bearish candle form, right? But again, obviously, we are in this uptrend, right? So everything's saying buy because we're in this uptrend, but we're just at this area where there is resistance, and this candle specifically shows us that we're starting to see sellers. So I don't want to buy it for those reasons, and there's not strong enough signals to start selling it yet, right? That is not bearish enough, that bottom wick. So yeah, you know, like I say, oil is a stay out for me at the moment. And like I say, there's so much geopolitically happening with oil. Let's drop down to the H4 and see what's happening there. I mean, I would say it is in a downtrend, right? Bang. Okay, and this is where we're at. As soon as we broke these lows in here, we are now getting lower lows, right? So we're in a downtrend and we're getting all this selling pressure at this resistance level. If anything, I would sell oil, right? But again, nothing's telling me to sell it, right? I would need to start seeing some bearish H4 candles at the very least in here, and then maybe consider selling. But yeah, for me, it's just a big fat stay out of oil at the moment. All right. So Raphael, yeah, I mean, if so, Raphael's question is an upper target, right? So what would be my target? Now, your target should always be an area of support or resistance, right? If you just think about it logically, right? Let's say before this candle even formed, right? All right, let's go back in time. And I'm just staying on the weekly chart. This would be true of any time frame. Now, let's imagine, right, we get a break, as we know we do, and we have a nice big bullish candle that looks like that, right? I'm going to color it in because I just like coloring in. No other reason. Right. Now, let's say we get a big bullish candle, right? So we need to understand structure and trend. So first of all, we're in an uptrend, right? If that candle happened. And then anytime something like that happens, your next target in an uptrend, which is what this is, should be an area of resistance. So this is how simple you should keep it, right? I'm not saying trading simple. I'm saying this is how simple you should look at the market. If we get a break of this level, right, nice bullish candle, we take it to that level. That should be our target. If it breaks this level, we take it to the next piece of resistance up here. That should be our target. And that's the only way to give yourselves targets on a chart, right? You know, people say to me, oh, Tom, you know, I want a risk to reward of at least 1:2. Okay, right? You know, I understand that. But if you get a candle, right, that breaks through like that, you know, that has to be your target. It doesn't matter if that's risk to reward 1:1 or 1:2, even 1:3, right? That has to be your target because by the very definition, so resistance, which is what this is, basically means sellers will be there, right? And if you're at a support level down here, it basically means buyers will be there. So don't think of them as support and resistance levels. Think of them as selling and buying levels, right? Because that's exactly what they are, right? You get sellers here, they'll push it down. You get buyers here, they'll push it up. Simple as that, right? So yeah, that would be, in order to answer your question, it's already hit its first target. If it breaks that level, I would take it up to that level. So there you go, Raphael. Hope that helps. Right, what else are we looking at here? Right, yeah, Mrs. Ninja wanted to look at US dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, so we've also got some other questions incoming about gold. Okay, so we'll take a look at all of them in a minute, guys. Poo Poppy saying silver is looking interesting. Lumo Crux, hello, how is everyone? All right, so let's take a look at US dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, now again, let's do a weekly approach. Let me take this out. I don't want that affecting your decision, right? And what I'm going to do, we're gonna do this analysis together, but I'm going to use a completely naked chart, right? Now, so that none of my support and resistance levels or none of my trend lines, nothing persuades you, all right? So we're going to analyze US dollar, Canadian dollar from the, from the top down. We're going to start with the weekly, daily, and look to enter on the H4 if there's an entry. So everyone get involved, guys. Don't be shy. Looking at the weekly chart, and as with any pair, any commodity, any asset you can trade, you have three options. You can either buy it, you can sell it, and if you don't like either of those options, you can stay out. And they're your only three options, right? Keep trading very binary. I say binary, and then I give you three options, but you know what I mean, right? Keep it simple. All right. So everyone, right now, looking at the US dollar, Canadian dollar weekly chart, would you buy, sell, or stay out of the market? So everyone, please leave your answer in the live chat right now. Lumo Crux, yes, I can help you there. Let's just do this together. Right. PJ, stay out. Luigi, stay out. Jason, sell. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, sell. Tony Gold, let's go. Trader Tom, let's go. Tony. Aussie Trev, stay out. Poo Poppy, stay out. Lumo Crux, buy. Menchie, buy. Tony Gold looks bearish. Okay. Right. So we've got a bit of a mixed bag there, right? We've got stay outs, we've got sells, and we've got some buys, right? So straight away, that should set alarm bells ringing, right? Because if you think about it, guys, when I take a trade, I want everyone to say, oh, yeah, that's definitely a buy trade. If I say I'm buying, pound US dollar or whatever it is, you want everything to be pulling in the same direction, and you want everyone seeing the same thing, because people will then get behind that trade, right? But with this trade, straight away on the weekly chart, we've got a real mixed bag, right? You are the sentiment of the market. You are, right? What you're showing me, you are the sentiment of the market, and it is a mixed bag, right? So that doesn't fill me with confidence. But what I'm going to do, guys, is look at this from a very factual price action point of view. And that's the only way you can look at charts, right? Not lagging, imaginary indicators or what someone said the interest rate will do. No, just look at the facts. Now I'm going to put some levels in now, right? This is probably more of a daily level. There's a level there. And they're the only two levels that affect this chart, really. Okay. Now, normally, right? Okay, so no, I'm not going to say normally. I'm just going to look at the facts. There's a resistance level. There's a support level, right? Fact. Yeah. What's the trend and structure? We are in a downtrend. Fact. Right? Lower highs, lower lows. Right? We're in a downtrend. Fact. I like to be below the moving average 20. Fact. Right? I also want a nice big bearish candle. Right? If I want to sell the market. Fact. Right? So this is ticking a lot of bloody boxes, right? It's tick, tick, tick. The only problem I have with it is value, right? And what do I mean by value? So, really, where is it in relation to the moving average 20? And how much room does it have to move into? Because if you start selling here, right, let's say you sold on the end of, I know you probably wouldn't. I'm just playing devil's advocate a bit, right? But if you just started selling there, where would you put your stop loss? At least above this resistance level, right? Or at least, you started selling here, at least above the candle. And then realistically, as I explained earlier, your target must be the next support or resistance. So this here would be your target, right? This would be your TP. And straight away, the risk to reward doesn't make sense, right? This would be your risk. Okay. Now, I know you can enter on lower time frames and be a bit tighter with your stop loss, etc. I get that. But you get the point. If there's a lack of value here, right? And that would be your reward. Okay. So it's almost a sell trade, but just because of that lack of value and the lack of room to move into, I would stay out of this trade, although it's almost a very good sell trade, right? But I don't make my decision based only on the weekly, right? We're now going to take a look at the day chart. Okay. Now, on the day chart, let me go back to the Pepperstone one. Okay, yeah, good. We can keep those levels in, right? So now looking at the day chart, guys, I'm going to ask you the same question, right? Would you buy US dollar CAD? Would you sell, or would you stay out of the market? So everyone right now, same again in the live chat, leave your answer. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. And if there is, I will point it out. And no, I'm only joking. There's no such thing. Right. Lumo Crux would stay out. Luigi would buy. Aussie Trev would stay out. PJ would stay out. LMS, hi, new to the channel. Do you cover volume? No, but I can explain why. Right? You know where the volume's going to be in the market. Marky Mark would sell. Poo Poppy would buy at 1.34. Okay, so stay out of the market, really. Menchie would buy. Tony Gold would short. Lucky Gupta would stay out. So the majority of people, again, are stay out. We do have a sell. We do have a buy, a couple of sells and a buy, but the majority of people are stay out. Now, again, guys, let's look at the facts, right? Now, there's probably some more resistance levels here. I'm going to put a level through there. Right? Why did I put a level through there? Because I wanted to touch these wicks where prices reacted before and this wick here. Right? This is proven to be a pretty good area where price reacts. Right? And again, this is very similar to the weekly, right? This is going to tick a lot of boxes, right? We are in a downtrend, tick, right? We're not bouncing off. This was the resistance level. We're not bouncing off resistance. So not really support and resistance there. Do we like the candlesticks? Probably not, right? Yesterday's candlestick is a bit of a doji. And the fact that this wick closed back in below that wick tells me there's some buyers there, right? Yeah, it's a doji, not very bearish candle. And is there value, right? Do we have room to move into? Again, you would probably need to put your stop at least above this support and resistance level. So again, the value is not there, right? So I'm not saying price won't do that and come down and reach this level. It's likely that it will, because it's come this far. It will want to make its way to the next support level, but there's no value here. Now, what I would be interested is price this, and price came back, moving out 20 came round, right? and we got a nice looking reaction in here. Then it ticks all the boxes, right? If you get a big bearish candle in here, right, we've got downtrend, we've got a nice resistance level, we've got a nice big bearish candle, and we've got all this room to move into, and we could put our stop above here, right? So, okay, news has come out. So I would like that if that happened. All right, guys, and that's how you should analyze a chart. Guys, quickly, we have just had news come out. It is a mixed bag. Okay, I would say that's bad for the US dollar, right? Big miss, and, slightly better. So I'm expecting to see some weakness in the US dollar. But we're not. We're actually seeing some strength in the US dollar. Okay, I'm just thinking, guys, because I'm in this trade. I could get out of this trade early because of that news, but I'm gonna let the dust settle, guys, because of this, right? When you get worse than expected news like this, right? That's clear. The 3-star ratings, that's worse than expected, and so is this, right? Clearly, right? But and you would expect a weak US dollar off the back of that, right? Now, when that doesn't happen and price sort of ignores it a bit, that really should start pushing higher, but it hasn't. So when price starts ignoring news data, that tells you something, guys, right? Now, I'm going to give this candle an hour to finish, right? Or 30 minutes. And I'll make a decision based on that. But let's just see if that US dollar strength, yeah, like we're seeing US dollar strength really off the back of that news. Aussie dollar, US dollar, right? We're not seeing the weakness we would expect, right? So that is an unusual reaction to the news. So I'm going to give my trade. I'm going to basically wait until the next hourly candle finishes and make a decision based on that, guys. All right, because I am in pound US dollar sells. Okay, so that was the news come out, guys. What else did we want to look at? Guys, before I look at the next question, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. If you haven't already, please come join our trading community, right? We have the free Discord, got loads of traders in there sharing knowledge, ideas. You can have a chat about whatever you like. And if you join our free Discord, which is free, I don't know if I've mentioned that enough, you will get 50% off the Simply Forex Complete Trading course. We'll only be running this promotion for a short time, so get involved if you are interested in that. And all you need to do, guys, you can see the QR code on the screen. Just scan that, and that will take you to the free Discord. That is how easy the editor has made it. And also, guys, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, including the course, including the VIP Trading Academy, and including my mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one, if you're interested in any of that, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. Check it out. In fact, let me put this little watermark on my screen. There we go. Look at that. There is the website, as if by magic. All right, guys. Right, back to the questions. Where are we? We've got... Okay, so Poo Poppy, we'll take a look at silver in a minute. We've just got this question here. So Lumo Krutz, hey, been trading for 5 years and not been successful. Can you recommend me a strategy to stick to and back test? So... I don't know how long you've been a member of this channel, Lumo, right? But if you want to succeed at trading, any strategy you use must be built on the fundamental understanding of price action. You must be able to read a chart, right? And when I say read a chart, I mean you must be able to identify structure and trend. You must be able to clearly identify support and resistance levels. You must be able to read candlesticks, and you must understand this concept of value that I touched on earlier. And you must be able to do this across multiple time frames and then collate that data and make an informed decision, right? And that's how I trade. I look at the facts. That's how I see them. They are facts on a chart, and I put these facts together and make a decision. And that decision is either I buy the market, I sell the market, or I stay out. And that's how I believe anyone should trade, right? Because, I've tried everything, right? I've tried every indicator known to man. I've tried super complex strategies, and none of them ever worked, right? Once I just broke the charts down into those simple pillars of price action, right? I'm not saying trading's simple, but the idea of price action is, right? Then my trading turnaround, right? There's also other things that I use, like managing trades, hedging positions, right? There's more to it, but you must be able to understand price action. And, you can add indicators as extra confluence, but your strategy must be built on price action and understanding that. Because otherwise you might as well do that. Just buy, sell, right? If you can't read the chart accurately. So there you go, Lumo. That would be my advice. Yeah, so please check out our premium trading education. If you like the look of it, fill your boots. Right, Poo Poppy. Silver is looking interesting. Right, let's take a look at silver then. Before we do, let me just take a quick look at a couple of trades I am in. Okay, so Canadian dollar, Swiss franc buys, I am in. I'm in pound US dollar sells. Okay, that news doesn't seem to have affected it. And I'm in copper. Okay, copper's done nothing for a long time. Anyway, right, back to silver. So Poo Pop is saying this is looking interesting. Now, the thing with silver is, right, you can scroll back, right? We are at all-time highs, right? As we was with gold, and we continue to be. Now, again, right, I would normally start with the day chart, right, and then go to the weekly if I need to, right? But this is clearly in an uptrend, right? You don't need to be Warren Buffett, right? In fact, you could be a 5-year-old child. You could say that is in an uptrend, right? Clearly. But the problem is, do you want to start buying silver up here? And this is that concept of value I'm talking about. I don't want to start buying up here. It's millions of miles away from the moving average 20, which is the mean of the market, right? This is where price retraces to over and over again for the history of in the history of the moving average 20, it's always been retraced back to, right? Of course it will. It catches price up, right? But it's just no value up here. I don't want to buy up here. Now, if silver did this, right, and came back down to this low, right, moving average 20 starts catching up, and we get a nice big bullish candle here, I'm interested. It ticks a lot of boxes. Uptrend at a support level, lots of value because we have lots of room to move into. That's a trade. Buying silver up here just isn't a trade for me, right? And it'll be interesting to see what silver does at that level. And it's as simple as that, guys. I wouldn't look at any other metric. It's too overbought. It's too overextended for this trade to be attractive for me. So I just wouldn't trade it really. I'd then take a quick look at the weekly, and the weekly says the same, right? Here's the moving average 20, right? We're clearly in an uptrend, But do you want to start buying up here? Not really. If price retraces into here, right, that's where you want to start buying, not up here, right? So no value, lots of value. All right, guys. So yeah, bear that in mind. Make sure you trade from an area of value, right? It's super duper important. Right, what else are we looking at? I'm just scrolling through the questions, guys. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, so we've got an interesting question here from Adnan. So Adnan, what do you think about FTMO funded accounts, and is it worth it in a case where I don't have much of my own capital? So I wish prop firms were around when I started trading, right? You know, they basically give you cheap capital, right? So, you know, maybe you can't put $50,000 in a trading account and start trading, right? You know, and if you can't, then one option you have is a prop firm, right? So you can get a $50,000 account, let's say for a couple of $100, right? And then you can start trading decent amount, you know, decent sized money. Obviously, there's a profit share and you know, there's other factors to take into account. But these days, you can get access to quite a large bit of capital, right? And if you're a good trader and you're consistent and you keep within their parameters of trading, you can make money that way by doing profit shares, right? And the one prop firm I would recommend, and the reason we have partnered with them, is Blueberry Funded, right? Because they're backed by a massive broker, Blueberry Funded, Blueberry Markets. So you want a secure prop firm. You know, you don't want one of these here today, gone tomorrow type prop firms, right? You want one backed by a broker, right? So I'm sure we can, if you go to our channel or look at the comments or whatever, we will put a link towards Blueberry Funded, because right now we will give you 20% off any funded challenge right now if you use our link and our code, right? So yes, I like prop firms. I like funded accounts and the access that gives you to capital, but be very choosy and pick ones supported by large brokers. Okay. So yeah, there you go, Adnan. I think they are a good means for that. What else have we got here? Okay, Adnan, new member. Welcome, Adnan. Right, what else? There was another question up here that I saw. Bear with me 1 second. So LMS, hi. I've literally got a minute and a half before I answer this question. But LMS, hi, new to the channel. Do you cover volume? And in a word, no, right? Because volume in a market is normally depicted by support and resistance levels, right? Now, there's lots of jargon out there that refers to support and resistance levels. You've got support and resistance, you've got supply and demand, you've got order blocks, you've got fair value gaps. All of these things mean the same thing, right? They all mean this is where the market could potentially react. And naturally, because these levels, right, this support and resistance level, this support and resistance level, this support and resistance level, at these levels, right, you are going to see large amounts of volume at these levels. So if we had a volume, you know, indicator on the side of my chart, you would get something like this, right, and then you'd get, right, and then price would go down. You've got another, you know, large volume here. The volume would do this. Excuse my crude drawing, right? And then you would get large volume bars again at this level, right? And then you'd do this, and then you'd get another large volume at this level, right? And so you don't need volume to tell you that. Okay, you know that because you are at support and resistance levels, and that is where all the buys and sells come into the market. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate all your time. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Check out the free Discord, check out the website, and I will see you again next time.